a walkthrough, the formatting doesn't, it doesn't look, we might need to resend it, Becky, so they can post it. The formatting is all.
Any noise.
Okay.
All right, so we are live. Good afternoon, everybody. This is the Vermont State Senate Committee on Institutions. We are meeting on May 14th, 2021 to discuss an amendment that has been sent over from our counterparts in the House to the Capitol bill. And we're going to do a quick walkthrough and have a little committee discussion and be prepared, hopefully, to give a vote on it this afternoon so we can make a recommendation to the Senate floor on Tuesday. We have leading off the chair of the House Corrections and Institutions Committee, the grande dame of the State House, Alice Emmons. Welcome, Representative Emmons.
Thank you. For the record, Chair Alice Emmons, Chair of House Corrections and Institutions, and I'll quickly walk you through the amendments. First one is we wanted to clarify our current language on the underwater preserves. We worked with our Laura Trishman, our historic division, our officer of historic division. I always forget her. I can never get her title correct. There are 2 underwater preserves that are ready to be open. And we listed those, and 2 that there could be documentations made. So that is for that extra $10,000 that we put in. The next one is Baldwin Street. This is part of the discussion that was occurring with the swap of, and this is later on in our amendment, we're doing a swap of space with BGS. We are swapping the 5th floor of 133 State Street with 2 Aiken and 4 Aiken. 2 Aiken is where Department of Buildings and General Services has their main operation out of, and 4 Aiken is behind 2 Aiken. That's also with BGS. So BGS folks are going to move up to the 5th floor of 133 State Street, and 2 Aiken and 4 Aiken will be for legislative use, and that will be a permanent move. The other part of the move as well is we've been working, Senator Benning and myself have been working with Kevin Moore, with our IT folks, looking for space for them. We worked with the administration, and we have agreed on 1st floor, 133 State Street, to move the servers there. The servers currently are in the basement of the State House here. And then Kevin Moore's operation and staff, there'd be about 8 folks, will move to the 1st floor of 133 State Street in one of the rooms there on one of the sides. And all part of that negotiations was the administration wanted authority to sell a few homes through the property on Baldwin Street. So the second amendment authorizes the sale of 13 Baldwin, which is at the end of Baldwin Street near Bailey Ave. And on each side of 13 Baldwin, there are residential properties on each side of that. So we thought that would be the first one to sell. We then looked at language on the third amendment. This, we're amending a previous capital bill. We had $700,000 going to the 1st floor of 133 State Street for the Agency of Digital Services. This is back in 2018. That has not been expended, so we want to expend that to the renovations to move Kevin's operation there. And that's what this language does. The 4th one deals with the 15 million out of the 1 billion ARPA money that got moved into the Appropriations Committee. We've got if this passes in the appropriations and is signed into law, we've got the appropriation for that 15 million for capital projects in our bill, the possibility. So this language is just to connect our projects with those dollars if they get expended so that we can track. And we've done this in the past when there's been appropriation in one piece of legislation and the projects are in another. It's just to make sure it's easier for staff joint fiscal office and for us to track in the future. We have the connecting language, and there's the same language as in the appropriations bill as well, connecting it to the capital bill. The biggest change that you will see is the Fifth Amendment. Our House Natural Resources and Energy Committee, I asked them to look at the rulemaking language that you folks had put in about going forward when there's a reefing of a vessel within our waters. They worked on this quite a bit, and they recommended, and we accepted, a moratorium on future lake encroachment permits for reefing of vessels, and it'd be a 3-year moratorium. I made sure with the chair of House Natural Resources and Energy Committee that she also reach out to the Senate chair of your Natural Resources Committee to see if they were okay with the moratorium instead of the rulemaking language. She indicated to me that they were. So that's why we deleted the rulemaking language and put in the moratorium. I went through the moves of 133 State Street and the other in Kevin's operation. On page 5 is a discussion, page 4 and page 5, bottom of page 4 and page 5. There's been discussions in the Joint Management Committee about how we move forward with the space needs within the State House, and also how to have us return to the State House come January. The advisory committee, legislative advisory committee, already exists in statute. But what we're doing here is, this is session law, and we are asking for the advisory committee to review and make recommendations on any space and design proposals for the State House. And the review would incorporate the Freeman report. And prior to making any recommendations, that committee would have to consult with all the stakeholders, be they legislators, legislative staff, and relevant stakeholders. And then the committee would also have the assistance of a planning architect from BGS. And by on or before August 15th, the committee needs to submit a report of its recommendations. They're not making a decision. They're vetting all the information. They'll be making some recommendations to the Joint Legislative Management Committee, Joint Rules, and our respective institutions committees on those recommendations. And the thinking is that the Management Committee and Joint Rules would then take action. And in order to get this accomplished, we really felt that we should increase the membership for this particular work, and only for this particular work, to 4 members from the House and 4 members from the Senate, and keep the rest of the membership intact. And this is just session law. We are not amending the underlying statute that establishes this advisory committee. And that's our amendment.
Committee, questions? Senator Mazza.
I just want to tell you that how disappointed I am. From day one, I've never supported or was against the sinking of the ferry. And I see now we're adding language here that's going to prohibit for 3 years. I don't think we have jurisdiction to do that. And again, I want to state very clearly that this process has been very disturbing to see that the permitting process was accepted and we got involved in this. And I don't think we have any business in that. I think this is a natural resources issue. And for us to go down this road, it's very disturbing. I don't remember a time when something like this was included so strongly in a piece of legislation that we have no jurisdiction over. So for the record, that's, like I said, I had no interest one way or the other. This boat could have floated or sank, or I don't go on the lake, and I've never been under the water. So that's my 2 cents. And I know the votes are there, but go right ahead. Thank you.
Okay, Senator McCormick.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If you remember, never liked the idea of sinking the boat. However, I also recognized that my colleagues on this committee were right, that we did not have jurisdiction, that the Agency of Natural Resources, the legislature had delegated that jurisdiction to the Agency of Natural Resources. They had granted a permit, and therefore it would be inappropriate for us to interfere. However, that's not what we're doing here. The sinking of the Adirondack has been scrapped by its owners because of public opposition. And what we're doing here is exercising jurisdiction that I think we very clearly do have. The Agency of Natural Resources implements the laws that we pass, but ultimately we make the decision as to what the law should be. And in this case, a 3-year moratorium is to allow for a full discussion on the merits as opposed to the process. I've yielded on the process. I think Senator Mazza and others, your objections, your process objections were valid. However, I think at this point, this is a proper process for us to make this decision. I also would say I serve on the Natural Resources and Energy Committee, and we discussed this, and think it's okay. We approve it, and I think that the chair will say that Chairman Bray will say that on the floor.
Is there any reason to keep the screen share up right now, committee members? If not, could we take that down? Any other questions or comments?
Mr. Chair, I'd just like to correct something. Becky caught me. I did make an error in talking about the membership of the Legislative Advisory Committee. It is changing statute. It is not just for the session in terms of the membership, but in terms of their work for the State House Space and Design Report. That is just session law for that.
Okay.
So I want to correct that. I erred.
Any other questions or comments for Alice? Thank you, ma'am, for coming to join us again.
No problem, anytime.
Yeah, it will be anytime, and it will be sometime very soon, I suspect. Okay, Becky, you are up next.
Hi, good afternoon. Becky Wasserman, Legislative Counsel. I see you just had the draft up, so I don't know if you want me to bring it up again.
I don't
Okay.
think there's any need. I'm thinking that perhaps the committee may have questions.
Sure.
But I'm not sure of that. And I wasn't sure whether it was going to be you or Alice who was going to do the walkthrough.
I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm not sure if Senator McCormick, he has his hand raised, so I don't.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I just
Oh.
haven't lowered it. Sorry.
Okay, are we all good? All right. Well, that was quick, Beck. Thanks for joining us.
Happy to help.
Good luck in your next appointment, as they say. Catherine, I also had you on the list. I don't know if you had anything you wanted to add at this point.
A lot of choices.
I do not. I was just here in case there were questions.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming. Good to see you again. And committee, I'm going to turn to you folks now. What would you like to do? I'll rephrase that. Anybody want to make a motion that we accept or reject the House proposal of amendment? Senator McCormick.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that we recommend to the Senate that it accepts the House proposal of amendment.
Denise, I'm going to have you call the roll so that we can at least keep it on the record.
Okay. Senator Ingalls, who is absent. Senator Mazza,
Reluctantly, yes. For the record, it's a very disappointing vote that I had to take today, but I hope it never happens in the future. Thank you.
Senator McCormick,
Yes.
Senator Parent,
I'll echo Senator Mazza, but yes.
Senator Benning.
Senator Benning will vote yes, with the caveat that I agree we probably shouldn't be dangling out into other committees' jurisdictions, but I tend to agree with Senator McCormick that one of our responsibilities is the preservation of the land, and that includes the land under the water. So we are sort of in a gray area, and I guess I would have preferred natural resources had it, but I'm okay with going along with what I've seen so far.
Just remember in the future, Mr. Chair, you're going to see a lot more of this happening in this committee, that you've opened the door to this now, and you've set a precedent now, and it's going to be very difficult to get away from it. So like I said, I'm very disappointed this happened this year. And we're allowing things to happen that should not be happening in the capital bill. Capital bill is for infrastructure and major improvements. And to go down this road is very, very disappointing. And I'm sorry I have to leave, but I have to leave. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Appreciate your comments, Dick. I do respect your opinion. Senator McCormick.
As I would just say, as de facto liaison from the Natural Resources and Energy Committee, that we had no problem with this being dealt with in the capital bill, because it is part of the physical layout of the state, and that the state that and also because it was part of the bill as it came from the House. So
I think
Nick, if you're telling me Senate Natural Resources approves it, and you might sway my vote to a no.
I think
all
it
those green
is,
sneakers, I know.
the comments though lead me to think it's probably smart to say something on the floor, that it's important to keep real clear lines of demarcation between committees as we go forward. And I don't have any problem if something of this nature pops up again, and it will, that we should be taking a very firm stand on that going forward.
I expect that the chair of Natural Resources will speak on the floor. I won't speak unless he asks me to. Perhaps I should,
Okay.
because I'm on both.
All right, it is I got 18 past 1 o'clock. I think our business is done. Once again, everybody, thank you very much for turning out. The bill will reach the floor and we'll do some chatting about it on Tuesday. My hope is that I can see some more of my senators on the floor Tuesday, and after the governor's news conference today, that we won't be wearing any masks when we get there.
I still got 12 days to go.
Oh,
Is
Well,
this
as
next
I-
meeting in person?
As
I
I
got my
understand
second
it,
one on Wednesday.
but as I understand it, you are allowed to have one unvaccinated member per 50 square feet. Would make you and the lieutenant governor as our maximum 2. I don't know who else has not been fully vaccinated yet.
It might be Terenzini, and I don't know about Senator Rahm, but I just know age-wise, I've gotten vaccinated about as quick as I could, but my age group, we just were able 4 weeks ago. But I've got both in me. I just got to wait for the 14-day period.
So
Is
you
the
got
Senate
shot.
Mr.
meeting,
Chairman,
is the Senate meeting in full Senate in the chambers next week?
not yet.
Not full. We're still in Zoom mode, but some of us are going to go back in because we want to be there.
Oh, good for you. Oh, good.
That's where I've spent the past 3 days, in case you didn't.
Yeah,
See
I've
me
noticed. I've noticed. Lucky you. I miss the State House so much.
And the State House misses all of us, I have to
Yeah.
tell you.
All
right.
But Senator Parent, I understand that in St. Albans this weekend is going to be a Sierra Club fundraiser contra dance, all vegan refreshments that, you might find interesting.
Head out, guys.
Okay, thank you all for
Thank
coming.
you.
Have a good
We'll
one.
see you again. Thanks,
Yes,
Denise.
thank you.
you're welcome.